You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Uncle Rico, what's going on?
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico.
Yo.
I just listening to the pod, and when you go off on the schools, the public schools, it makes me giggle. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, can you imagine the oxygen thieves, you know, how freaking stupid they would be if they didn't even go to school? I mean, they wouldn't know flat from round, so they wouldn't know what the earth was. They'd be like, flat? What's that?
That would be to our benefit for them to not even know what flat is.
Round? Excuse me? I don't know what you're talking about. And they wouldn't know how to spell cat, and they wouldn't know to put a question mark at the end of a text if it was a question.
People already don't do that. It's funny because obviously I'm not saying that people shouldn't, like I said, you know, basically you learn these basics early on, but the funny thing is all the examples people bring up of why we need education, they're all bad. Like I'm actually waiting for a good example. Nobody can spell, nobody can use punctuation. We still have flat earthers that went to school presumably for at least 18 years. I don't know. I didn't intend for the point to be made this poignantly, but I appreciate you guys helping me make my point for me.
And they, you know what I'm saying? I mean, school is you know, as much better. Is that right? See, I didn't go to school as much. I can't even say it.
Mm-hmm.
Is much.
How's
better
that working out for you?
Does that make sense? Anyways, it could be a lot worse. And yes, I think they really need to prioritize some of the classes that are real life stuff, like how to live life classes.
The major issue is that it's shockingly inefficient. When you look at the output compared to the amount of hours put in, and again, I homeschool my kids. I know how quickly kids can learn stuff. You know, I mean, homeschool. Do you know how homeschool kids, how little time they put in? Generally, it's not 7 hours plus however many hours of whatever of homework after that, and they consistently outperform public school kids. So it's just a really and like I said, the point is it's inefficient. And so when I sit here and I brainstorm, like, well, how could we make it more efficient? What if we did less hours and we did more of this, that? The problem is, number one, nobody actually cares. And number two, they don't want it to change the hours because the hours are set up so that we can have our kids put away at a daycare somewhere while mom and dad go to work. So you have to be there for those hours, so figure it out, do something. And if the education isn't great, of course I'd rather it was, you know, my kids are geniuses, but ultimately at the end of the day, as long as they have somewhere to go, I'm satisfied. So if we view it from that lens, the kids have to be put in a government daycare until they're 18 years old and can go somewhere by themselves. Would I rather them learn how to spell cat as compared to letting them just watch TV and eat donuts? Yeah. Do I think we could do 10,000 times better with education? Yes. I think we could learn better things. I think we could learn faster, more efficiently, but I don't think anybody actually cares enough. So it's a moot point. It's not really worth bringing up.
And like clearly some parents can't teach their kids some things that kids should learn, and some parents can, you know, every parent can teach them something, but
isn't that kind of odd? Didn't the parents go to school? Why can't they teach them? And if they can't teach them, that means they didn't know it. So if they don't know it, why do they need to teach it to their kids? Just a thought. And if it's critical, then why doesn't anybody know it? Why do you need somebody that's trained to be an educator, which, by the way, there aren't these things. I don't know what thing you can't teach your kids. Anything that they need to know. You can either get a refresher, which is what I usually do. Like, I don't really remember how to do it. And then you go through and you're like, okay, I remember. Also, there's online, even before AI, plenty of resources. There's online videos, YouTube, online schools. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, all the books, you can buy any book you want. School books, it's not illegal to buy a school book for your own purposes. You can buy a school book and teach through the school book if that's what you want to do. But again, it is kind of interesting. And by the time we get to that level of, I wouldn't know how to teach that, we're getting to the level of nobody needs to know that. Because if you needed to know it, how are you alive right now? Just a little thought exercise.
Maybe, yeah, it should be a community thing. Like this parent can teach them how to change the oil in their car, and this parent can teach them, things like that. I can't teach my kids a lot of things that kids should know. I tried, of course, but I think you're wrong about geometry. Maybe in your line of work, but in my line of work, geometry.
See, but again, you get into my line of work. I never said nobody needs to know geometry. Geometry doesn't need to be taught to every single human being. A very select group of people need to know geometry, right? It's no different than, for example, let's just say I had a job where I repaired medical equipment. We don't need to teach all middle school and high school kids how to repair CT machines or X-ray machines. If that was being taught in school and I said, I don't think we need to teach every kid about how X-ray machines work, that seems silly. And then somebody who works at a hospital repairing them says, well, actually, I do need to know those things, so everybody should learn that. If you need to know geometry to fulfill a certain job role, then you should learn geometry. There is a shockingly small amount of people that spent an unbelievable amount of hours learning geometry that never needed to know geometry for the rest of their lives after that period of time. If you're an accountant, you need to take several classes on accounting. That doesn't mean that everybody in high school needs to learn accounting or finance. Geometry is a specialized thing that certain people need to know. Now, there's nothing wrong with somebody learning geometry, but it just goes to how unbelievably inefficient it is to take everybody to these insane levels of mathematics that almost nobody needs to know. Like I said, middle school is when I learned sort of basic, we're talking 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, I learned basic algebra. After that, I don't know. I don't know that you really need any form of mathematics to live your life. And again, it's fine to learn geometry, just like it's fine to learn a lot of things. It's fine to learn geology or physics, chemistry, oceanography. It's fine if you want to learn how to cut hair. It's fine if you want to learn about NFL defenses and how that works. But the fact that some people need it for their job doesn't mean it should be a requirement for every single person across the country. That seems silly to me.
It comes in very handy. So, and it's not that I had to learn it in school. Maybe that's what you're saying, that I could have learned it on the interweb, something like that.
Or when you went to pursue that job, you could have learned that. Like, I went to a 2-year tech school and where I took things like electronics, DC electronics, AC electronics. I would say that's probably more valuable than geometry just for a general practice. Nobody learns that in high school, electronics. You should. It's important and it's interesting. All our houses are filled with electricity. Nobody knows how it works. But the point is, I didn't need to know it because when it became time for me to need to know it, I went to school and they taught me it so that I can go on to do my job because it was a prerequisite to my job. Although, to be fair, could that pretty much have entirely been on-the-job training? Most jobs can almost be entirely on-the-job training. Some things that are more complicated, you should probably put in a few years of learning, again, like engineering, being a doctor, being a lawyer. You might need some education. But again, you can do that once you decide to start pursuing that. And we can actually streamline that by, for example, when I went to a 4-year school for finance, I never actually even got into any of that. I had to take 2 years of nonsense that had nothing to do with the career path that I was going for. Thousands of dollars, who knows how many hours. I learned nothing about the career path that I was pursuing. Why don't we just streamline it so that if somebody needs a job, you help them get a job? Well, we need to make people more well-rounded. How's that working out? Give me a frickin' break with that nonsense.
Anyways, I think you're just a little harsh. What's up, bro?
I am harsh, but I'm also correct.
All right. Love you still, though. I don't care if you hate school or not. I don't love it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go to the library and read a book right freaking now, buddy. Just to get under your skin. All right.
You can do it, but I just will think less of you.
Go, Pack, go. Love the show. Love you. Love y'all. Rico out.
I actually found a, what the heck was it called? I was using it a lot before I forgot. It's Gutenberg, I think. It's a discontinued site. This will help prove my point as well as actually be an interesting resource for some of you. Go to Gutenberg.org. I think it's a discontinued project, but Project Gutenberg is a library of over 75,000 free ebooks. I'm actually kind of excited to get back in here. So this works whether you're like me and you're more, I just want the information, or if you actually want to read literature. But for example, let's see what novels they have here. So Moby Dick, Frankenstein, Gulliver's Travels, Pride and Prejudice, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Crime and Punishment, Journey to the Center of the Earth. This is all on here completely free. I can click on Moby Dick right here. They have EPUB, 3 different EPUB versions. They have a Kindle version, plain text version, an HTML zip version. And again, you can just sit here and read the whole thing, or do what I was doing before. I was actually kind of going through a lot of American histories type stuff, including the Constitution or whatever, because I don't know jack about it because I went to public school and I'm a freaking idiot. And just kind of going through the earliest things of sort of American history and kind of how it all went together. There's things I've heard of, but I didn't know how it all kind of went together. So the Federalist Papers, didn't know what that was. Looked it up. Thank you, AI. Okay, that's what the Federalist Papers are. Let's go through it. Let's see what they said. Thomas Paine's Common Sense. Used AI to go through that. And again, it's great because not only can I have it summarized to me because it's Old English and it's slow and I don't want to go through it and try to be what the heck does that mean? Can just copy and paste and be okay, summarize this for me. And then I can go back and forth. I don't understand. What is the context? It can give you the historical context. Well, at the time, this was going on. And so there was kind of this. And, well, no, this is actually kind of like this. And this, you know what I mean? If you want a genuinely deep, profound understanding of all these different things, it's fantastic. So it's because of my excitement for things like education that I get annoyed with things like education. Because the problem is we put a label on stuff. Trying to think of ways to turn this back to football. We do this with football for sure, like with Aaron Rodgers and the Hall of Famer thing. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer, but that's just skewing the point. When we say education, and I say that I don't like it, it's oh, you want people stupid. No, what I'm referring to is the current way in which we do things is terrible. And there's better ways that we can do things that could actually make people extremely intelligent as compared to where they are now. And that's actually my goal. Not for people to be stupid. I want people to stop being stupid. But in order for that to happen, we're going to have to change the way that we do stuff. But anyways, if you are interested, if you like reading stuff, learning stuff, whatever, Project Gutenberg over at Gutenberg.org is phenomenal. They got the Declaration of Independence, all that stuff. They also got autobiography of Ben Franklin here. All kinds of really, really cool stuff. I'm getting myself re-excited. I was doing this for a while and then, got caught up doing other stuff. But they also have things like engineering, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, earth, agriculture, farming, statistics, information systems, research methods, sociology, psychiatry, psychology, law and criminology, economics, business management. All these books are in here. And you don't have to go to the library. But again, it's just about efficiency. That's it. There's only so much, there's too much information and not enough time to consume it. So if reading is just a fun, relaxing experience, fine, go relax. I choose to be on the beach if I want to relax. I want to go to the beach. I want to sit out in the sun. I want to barbecue and make some good food. Education is education, and it's about efficiency. It's about how can I get as much good information in my head and stay there as I possibly can. And my point on education is that the way we do it is a complete joke, and I don't think we actually are trying to educate in that way. I think it's a giant daycare. We got 2 more calls from Uncle Rico. Let's take a break. This is one of those topics, too, by the way. Obviously, I get fired up because it's super interesting to me and I like talking about it, but I I keep forgetting it's a football podcast, and I'm like, oh man, nobody's going to listen to this. So if you want to call in and discuss it, that's fine. Again, we can talk about any topics you want, but I'm mid-rant. I'm listening as all the footsteps of people walking out of the room going, yeah, I'm not listening to this episode today. So let's take a break. We'll come back. Uncle Rico Part 2.
Yo, Ryan.
Oh, yo.
Your Uncle Rico. In actuality, I don't want to put a bullet between someone's eyes, but you know,
good.
It's just like it seems like people watch their P's and Q's a little more when there was when that was a thing that could happen. You know, I mean, when it wasn't like, you know, how people just think they can run around and say anything they want, and because
I think that's maybe why things, you know, there's, well, social media, who knows how many people got the crap beat out of them back in the day and we just never saw it, but it's like this terrible thing between, we used to live at a time when, you know, let's go outside and we'll punch you in the face till you fall down and then it's over. Now it's like, I'm going to actively try to kill you in a fight. So you have like crazy people that don't have like that sense of, I don't know, honor or whatever you want to call it. But you also have the social media culture where some people don't realize that not online and online are very different things, and you need to watch your mouth. Again, like I grew up with parents that are like, yeah, one of these days somebody's going to punch you in the mouth for saying that kind of, you know what I mean? Like just little things to put in the back of your head, explaining how life works a little bit. But yeah, there is a lot of people, alcohol plays a big part in it, obviously, in some cases, but there's a lot of instances of people they just don't get it, man. They just run their mouth, and you can just tell sometimes that somebody, either they're way bigger and it's like you're in big trouble, or you can just kind of tell they know how to fight. You know, just the way they stand, the way they're built, you know, they make sure to keep their distance. Like you can't get within range. They keep pushing you back or whatever. You can kind of see that right shoulder back a little bit, and it's like, dude, that guy's going to freaking cock you. Also, if I could just throw in one more little note here. Ladies, you got to just let your guy do what he's going to do. Okay, you got to stop getting in the middle of these fights. Not one time has a female ever gotten in the middle of a fight and it's been productive. Either you're going to get hit, or most of the time you're just going to get your boyfriend, husband, whatever, beat up real bad. Because you keep getting in his way, you keep grabbing him when he's trying to do things, and it becomes like a 2-on-1 where you're actually helping the other guy because you're trying to stop something. You guys have to stop. Just get out of the way and let it happen. If your husband starts like kicking him while he's down, grab him, you know, do whatever. But don't stop getting in the way. You have to stop doing that.
What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?
Right.
You're gonna sue me or blah blah. I mean, I've seen some crazy things, and like you said too, yeah, people just take it to the extreme nowadays. Can't just call somebody a butt or whatever, and and they call you a butt back, and maybe there's a scuffle or something. Yeah, it seems like there's weapons coming out.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, just to clear that up, I don't want to put a bullet in someone's eye.
Good.
But if the threat was there of me getting a bullet between my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would mind my business a lot more. You know what I mean?
I get it.
So, go Pack Go, and stuff. It's, what is it? It's Friday night. It's 10:18. It's time to take a shower and watch a little tube. So, y'all have a good weekend, everyone. Rico out.
Uncle Rico Part 3.
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico.
Yo.
I just looked at my phone. I had missed it earlier, I guess, sometime today. Escalade is in the house. That's good to see that the Packers have signed their full draft class.
Yeah.
So excited that, I don't really know what went on. I'm sure you'll talk about it here about which second round picks got fully guaranteed contracts and where that ended and whatnot. But I was thinking that, hoping, I should say, that it wasn't going to get too wild and Anthony or Anthony's agent or somebody was smarter than to have him cause problems.
Yeah.
And like you had mentioned, his future was at risk. I mean, like you said, what's it matter if your rookie contract is guaranteed when your next contract is really the one you should be worrying about, I guess.
Right.
But anyways, just wanted to say that I'm jacked now, more so, getting more jacked every day. I wasn't too jacked when the pick came in for Matthew Golden, but since then I've gained traction, and Savion, yep, more excited, and Anthony Belton wasn't. I was like on that pick, I was like too early. I was like, that guy could have waited a round or two, but I'm jacked about it. I'm pretty, and what's the kid's name? Oh shoot, our fourth round pick, Texas name?
Sorrell?
Yeah,
Baron?
forgot already. Oh, it's right here. Baron Sorrell, yeah, super. Seems like a super good person. Hopefully he's a super good football player. And yeah, I'm jacked about all this. So go Pack, go!
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't remember when I mentioned that, if it was After Dark or one of the regular shows or whatever, but I'm starting to have dreams about football, and I'm starting to get excited. My son is he's been hammering me about we have to do live streams again. He started cleaning and reorganizing my office. He wants to move this little lounge chair recliner over in the corner. Actually, that was kind of my idea, but moving that over in the corner, get the TV moved over so that could be like his little office. He's got a little tablet now, a little our first Apple product. All the three kids got Apple iPads for school, and so it's got a camera on it. And I thought, you could just set up your little iPad. That could be your spot. He's excited to. We've got a little mini vacation set up in that week between the last week of the preseason, the first week of the NFL. There's that dead week there. He's real excited when we get back. Not only does the football season start, but we got college football. And so he wants to start his film watching and film grading right out of the gate. And I think I'm going to participate in that too with him. We're going to be working on that stuff. We got kind of a big project that we're going to unveil around that time. But not quite ready yet. So yeah, getting excited. Matthew Golden, I'm in the same boat. I'm getting more and more excited. The reports about him have been very, very positive. Savion, not as much. He seems kind of raw and is injured again. And then Belton, I just haven't seen out there. I know it's too early to get nervous. That's kind of silly. I mean, it's hard to kind of work your way up the ladder. We had the same thing happen with Morgan, but the fact that we got multiple people out and he's not even subbing in at guard or tackle. He came in briefly to sub out right tackle Zach Tom, which I thought was interesting. But it's just given me the impression that Belton will not be starting for us this year, which is pretty unfortunate. But we'll see how it goes. We'll keep her posted there. But yeah, really starting to get excited about it. Starting to feel real. We got practice kicking off here. Love that we're getting reports again. It's good, man. I told my wife yesterday, the football season for psycho football fans like me, like a lot of you, it officially started this past Wednesday when the first practice kicked off.
What's going on, Zomar the Firefighter? How y'all doing?
What's up?
Hey, I was calling. I guess it's called for Nate. A little bit for you, Ryan, just because you probably know. Nate probably already knows now. But I was listening to his call about the Madden and how they're ending their exclusive rights deal. Well, what I used to do was I spent probably bought Madden for like over 20 plus years straight, right? Every year. And I'm like, they would only do so many minor tweaks, it really wasn't worth it. And it got to the point that I said, F that. And I started buying it. I said, I do 3-year gaps. So I would keep the Madden and then go for 3 years and then buy the new one.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I could just download the roster, update it, and then I would update the first or second round myself. And that way, I would do that would cover my 3-year span basically. And then I would just play online. I mean, connected franchise, whatever the hell is franchise mode. But he probably know now, but if he doesn't, apparently the NFL wants Madden to have the exclusive rights. EA doesn't even want the exclusive right no more because they know they don't have to pay such a high price if everybody gets it. and they believe that their game will still sell, so they're not worried about it.
Yeah.
The NFL does not want that to happen, apparently. Which is, to me, is crazy, but they you said it on the show, it's like they can just basically pimp them out and make them pay for this because they got to have the game. So make them spend this absorbent amount of money just to be the exclusive rights holder. Also, don't know if it's 100% true, but they're also saying that the last year, right, when they went to Madden exclusive rights, they got mad at 2K because 2K's last game was $20. It was $20 for an NFL game.
Yeah.
And that was so dope.
Yep.
And they did it because they knew it. This is going to be our last one, so it is what it is. And apparently the NFL was mad at that.
Yeah.
So they're like, then you're the only people that can do it. And they have control over EA. They can tell EA, no, we don't want this. No, we don't want this. Versus they can't tell 2K what to do. They can't tell, NFL Street what they need to do. They can't tell Blitz, we don't want all this violence in our games. They had no control, but they got EA in their pocket. So they can control everything. So that's why. So unfortunately, Nate, Madden is going to be the only NFL game for a while. So to anybody who hasn't bought the game for a while, this is my first year actually buying in the last 3 years. So this will be my first one buying. I'm not going to buy it again for another 3. I would suggest that way you can spread your money around and just download the update. That's all. But anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah, that does make sense, actually. The NFL views the Madden franchise as sort of an extension of itself. I mean, it's a game franchise that they can manipulate, that they can set all the rules for. They can say, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's almost as if they control the game and they get a massive amount of money that they're overcharging for. And they've got EA over a barrel, forcing them to pay way more than they should have to. It's really just the NFL being safe, being, it would take, I'll go so far as to say lazy, but I kind of get it. If you were, this kind of gets back to if your goal was to make the NFL as awesome as you possibly could, you would open it up. If your goal is to run it like a business, as they tend to do, and you're worried about lawyers and you're worried about, again, like you said, with people bringing violence in and you can't control all the pricing and all these different variables that you don't want to have to worry about. Even if, who knows, maybe you could bring in more money, maybe it wouldn't. I would assume it would, but maybe it's just not worth, if we could just gouge EA, why should we open it up where, even if we open it up, you got 4 or 5 game studios that could afford to do it. So you could multiply it out, but you're multiplying out a much smaller number. And you kind of lose control. I don't know. If it's me not seeing all the variables in front of me, and who knows what decision I would make, but if it's me, I'd love to open it up. I think it would be very cool as a way to just, how can we make the NFL experience for our fans as awesome as is humanly possible? And the way to do that is to open it up. But you're right, they probably just see it as, again, just an extension of themselves. This is an NFL product, and we want to be in complete control of the NFL product, and we're making a massive amount of money, and the NFLPA has deals with these guys, and there's so many different things involved in terms of how much money they all get from the licensing and the rights and all that. Everything is just stitched together just nicely for the NFL, so we can just run it back again. And that, I wonder, too, if that has something to do with why EA doesn't do more. There's complacency on their part, for sure, knowing that they have this locked up, knowing everyone's going to buy it. But also, how much stuff are you going to have to run by the NFL every single time? And, if you come up with a new concept and it flops or whatever, it's just, especially with the amount of money that you're paying, you can't afford to have one flop. You got to have all that money come in, so you play it safe. Because if you play it safe, everyone buys it. So we're just kind of stuck in this rut where this is just it forever. And I don't know the way out of that. All right, let's take our final break. We got Carson Caldwell on the other side.
What's up? It's Carson Caldwell from Cleveland, Ohio, and right now I'm watching Week 4, Packers versus Vikings, the Jordan Love comeback game after his injury.
Yep.
And I don't know. I've been watching all these games. I've been trying to break down all these games for some content that I'm trying to make. And as I'm watching these games, it's just like it's completely different from what I remember. And the receivers are so much worse than I remember. And I was a guy that when you told me, like, oh, the receivers were bad, I'm like, all right, yeah, they weren't great, but, like, stop making excuses for Jordan. Like, Jordan didn't play that great. Jordan didn't do this. As I'm watching this, sure, Jordan Love makes some mistakes here and there that probably, aren't the best play. But number one, he's hobbling, right? Like, I mean, you can see it as he's playing this game. And, as far as other games go,
that one was real evident. And I was kind of glad that you, because it's one of those things, I keep saying it because it's my recollection, but I don't remember how true it is, just like what you're saying. But that's the thing I've been saying that I remember was we could see right away he was not healthy, and he's hobbling, and he's not putting weight on that leg, and it was bad.
So that he wasn't hobbling. Sure, he still makes some bad mistakes, but as far as the receivers, they have to be better. I mean, just looking at the notes I have for this Week 4 game, drive 1, 3rd and 13. Wicks drops a would-be first down and maybe a touchdown, and then Narveson attempts a field goal and doinks it. No good. And then let's see. Drive 6, Love hits Romeo in the chest, dropped. And then we had like a couple of passes this game where like Wicks would catch it, but then it wouldn't survive the ground. Or Dobbs would catch it, wouldn't survive the ground, and it would be ruled incomplete. Or the one where he throws to Dobbs and Musgrave tips it, and then it gets intercepted, and just all this stuff. And then just now that I just saw, 4th and 8, Love throws to Wicks in the end zone, and it bounces right off of Wicks' chest. Can't make this up. I really didn't notice how bad these receivers were last year. And it's true. Every single game I've watched, the receivers just have not been great, and I did not know how bad it was until I've actually gone back and watched it. So I recommend everyone who's listening, you, all the listeners, whatever, go back and watch some of these games.
And that was a 2-point loss, by the way. Just looked it up. 2-point loss. All that stuff, every team makes some mistakes. I'm sure the Vikings had a couple mistakes, a drop here and there, but you look at all these drives, especially 3rd down, you got touchdowns, you got all that stuff. In a 2-point loss, man, that's brutal.
You will see it from a non-biased perspective of what actually happened, and I've been shocked. Another thing I've been shocked about is how good, or I guess how reliable Romeo Dobbs has been. Yes, he has a few drops, but whenever Jordan needed to play, he goes to Dobbs, and more often than not, he makes that play. And so even though he will have a drop here and there, Romeo actually surprised me. And I knew Romeo was good, last year, just being Jordan's guy and kind of being that Mr. Reliable type of thing. But it's just absolutely magnified as I'm going back and watching it. And so it's been really interesting for me. I think it's cool that you're going back and looking at the stats, looking at the numbers. I think that's very valuable. But for me to actually go back and watch it, not necessarily film, but just rewatch the game, it's been very beneficial for me. So I recommend it to everyone, and go Pack Go.
Yeah, that's the real important point, because everybody kind of gets hung up on, well, the Packers weren't good enough to beat all the good teams. And again, I've gone over that. They did beat good teams. They didn't beat the shockingly elite teams. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They lost 6 games all season. They were 11-6, only 6 losses. Do you know how many losses they had by more than 1 score? Only 1. It was the playoff game. They lost 22-10. The Chicago loss was 2 points, and that was Jordan Love got hurt, injuries, pulled our starters, the whole 9 yards. Minnesota, both games we lost by 2 points. Bears fans as well as negative Packer fans want to bring up, we were 1 lucky tip away from getting swept by the NFC North. Yeah, we're probably a drop away from sweeping the NFC North. Oh, I lied. There's a Detroit game week 9 as well. I was like, wait a minute, where's the other Detroit game? Week 9 against Detroit. So in the regular season, there was 1 game against Detroit, 14-24. Philadelphia was 22-10. Otherwise, we lost to Philadelphia week 1 by 5 points. Minnesota week 4 by 2 points. We lost by 3 points to Detroit week 14. We lost by 2 points against Minnesota week 17 and 2 points against Chicago week 18. Considering the incredible amount of mistakes that were made, this team was very close to just tightening up and, losing one game? I mean, granted, it doesn't help you in the playoffs again, although, injuries and whatnot were rough. But if you're questioning whether it's a good team and the upside of the team with some assumptions built in, number one, they actually do a better job of catching and whatnot, I think the upside is very evident.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico. I hope you can hear me. I don't know. I was having problems with I got my wife's automobile and I'm plugged in and I don't know how to do this stuff. Stuff happens. You plug things in and everything gets wild. Anyways, of course you stepped on people's toes, Ryan. And of course you hurt their feelings. I doubt it. I really doubt if anybody that listens to you, me, I mean, somebody might get their feelings hurt by the masculine, feminine, but you didn't say anything bad.
And, and I was thinking about this in terms of I wish I had said it at the time, but I'm genuinely interested in these topics. I like observing these things. I like observing politics. Again, I have, I don't even know what my side would be anymore, but I have preferences, but a lot of times when I'm talking about stuff, it's meant to be theoretical. It's more of an observation of what is. I'm not making any judgment about what's good and what's bad. I mean, sometimes I do, or I layer in a little bit, but a lot of this, especially again from a football standpoint, is where are we going? I see this change happening. I'm assuming you guys all see it too. Whether it's good or not, irrelevant. It's not an endorsement. It's just an acknowledgement. So this is happening. What does that mean? And that's where I talked a little bit about the NFL and what could possibly change. It's hard to know where they're at with that, but we know that they went with the culture for a long time and that there's a lot of things that maybe were culturally related. Like when you look at kind of how quote-unquote soft they got, that could have everything to do with lawsuits and everything too, in which case culture will have nothing to do with it. It's also possible that this cultural moment lasts for 15 seconds and we go in a different direction. But again, I'm looking at where we are and where it seems like we're heading and saying, this is a thing. It's super interesting, right? Like, look what's happening. I don't watch ESPN and all that, but it's crazy how dramatic the effects of these things are. It's happening across multiple spectrums, but it's coming into the NFL space where you had these kind of fringe shows that are now being absorbed by these major Goliaths because the Goliaths are failing and they're trying to go out and purchase the things that are working. And so again, like what does that do? What does that mean? Where are we going? So, again, as far as like not trying not to step on toes, sometimes I don't care about it, but and sometimes it's unnecessary. I'm not trying to make any kind of a point one way or another, but I do want to talk about it because I find it interesting and I like thinking big picture is kind of my preference. I think I do better zoomed out than I do zoomed in. It's my opinion on myself. So I find these things fascinating. And I know for some people it's not fascinating and it only comes off as being like political. And so it's like, what is your opinion? And then if you think you know what it is, then you just get angry. And it's not that. It just is what it is.
Anything that I would redeem remotely unpolitically correct, but that's the thing. People who worry about those things get way too wild with it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not nice to call people fat when they're fat, but if they're your buddies, it's your job.
Right.
It's like bullying. It's not cool, but hey, if nobody bullies a fat kid, he's not going to go on a diet, right? I don't know. I don't really get it. Toughen up, dude. The world is not a nice place. Get ready. Right. All right, Jen. Rico's an asshole. Rico's a
Come on.
Get out. Rico. Go. Gotta go. Love y'all.
We did so good on this episode of keeping it clean. Yeah. And again, that's where you get back to the whole balancing act thing, because kind of like what Nate was talking about, I think it was Nate, you do have the term the edgelords. There are certain people, and a lot of it just exists online, but there is such a thing as people who just like to be offensive because they just like it. And it's meant to be sort of this like, oh, toughen up, all, whatever. But it's completely unnecessary. But you're right. There is an element of we can't nicen up the world for you. People, there's a lot of like trying to dumb things down and make things easier and lower the standards so that everybody can get over the bar. But you can only artificially deflate so many things. And I think that what we've found is that the people that went through that sort of training, that, let's put a helmet on all the kids and wrap them in bubble wrap and protect them, those kids are not doing well because there's certain things in life that you can't lower the bar for them. Life is hard, difficult, challenging, and I think you'd be better served not in some kind of abusive way, but in a protective environment, exposing them to things to toughen them. And it's a balancing act, and sometimes you take the toughening too far, and sometimes you don't go far enough, but that should kind of be the goal, is to find that delicate balance, not to protect people from things all the time. It doesn't serve anybody any good. And I think that's kind of been a thing with NFL fans for a long time, which is where there's been a lot of discontent in watching the NFL go down this path. And it's like, why is this such a soft nonsense league? But it's especially a thing today, and it's a much more vocal thing. I think it was, you had a lot of fans who would talk about this stuff in the bar, but you wouldn't see it on ESPN. You wouldn't see it being talked about from the league or from coaches or anything. There was a very specific way that we do things and talk about things and don't talk about things. Today, especially now that everybody has a platform and everybody has a podcast, and we went through a period of certain people saying very uncomfortable things for a while that made everybody uncomfortable. And I think through that period, everybody came out on the other side okay. And then people that decided, I'm going to start saying that too. The point is, it's now much more culturally acceptable to just say hard things. And now that we're doing that, again, I'm kind of interested in how that manifests in the NFL. Because although, yes, we do have to protect people, and you don't want people, getting brain damage and all that different stuff, certain things like the taunting thing, the celebrating thing, the NFL is just too worried about stuff. They're too worried about, what the demographics that don't watch football think about football. Well, how can we reach them if we don't lower the bar to the standard that they would be okay with? There's a large group of people that will never watch the UFC because of what it is. If the UFC decided we need to start appealing to those people and finding ways to get them into the fold, so we need to start taking out certain things that, cause bleeding or look violent or whatever, that doesn't serve a purpose. You have to just live with the fact that there's going to be people that don't like your product, and you need to stand by your product. The NFL is a violent sport. It's mean and violent and awful. And so, on some level, I don't know that we should be power slamming people on their heads like we used to see back in the 70s and 80s, but on some level, we got to just embrace it a little bit, I wouldn't be mad if the NFL put together a little montage of just violent hits saying, "This is the NFL, come check us out, Sunday Night Football." Do they even do that anymore? That used to be like all the montages, when they're advertising for an upcoming game. It's just violent hit after violent hit. Now it's what? The somebody giving that rousing speech that's always awkward and cringy in the middle of that circle of people. It's deep passes and touchdowns, and I don't know. I'd get pretty jacked up if a promo for a game was guys smacking into each other and trash talking. Especially if it's like a division rivalry. You go out and get some cut-ups of Bears and Packers fans going at it, or Bears and Packers fans would be fun too. Players going at it. When I talk about a cultural shift, that's kind of the direction I'd like to shift back to. NFL, you did a good job. You've done a very good job of doing the best you can to protect people from within. Now, embrace it. Be okay with it. Stop running away from it. Stop being scared of it. You did the best you can do. Now let the chips fall where they may.
So I'm listening to your pod about the Jalen Hurts disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you already stated it. None of them have said this. You put any quarterback on that team, and they look really good. In fact, they look better than Jalen Hurts. You've said that already about Love. Can you imagine if Herbert was on that team? I think you mentioned that too. Can you imagine if Lamar Jackson was on that team or Burrow? But he's using those like 4 quarterbacks. Burrow, Jackson, Josh Allen, who's the other one he's using? Burrow, Jackson, Herbert, and Allen. He's using those 4 quarterbacks saying they don't have what Hurts has. Here's the funny thing. Let's say you asked every GM in the NFL now, we're going to start a franchise, and you're going to be the general manager of it. Which of those 5 quarterbacks, which one do you pick? I guarantee you, none of them pick Jalen Hurts.
No.
I mean, they're all better than Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen is freaking got a cannon. He throws a lot of interceptions, but he does so much other stuff good. Herbert is like almost the perfect quarterback. Lamar Jackson is a freak, and Burrow might be the best of all. None of them, no GM would pick Love over those other 4 quarterbacks. So if that doesn't tell you how he ranks, don't get me wrong. I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's a game manager, you got to be careful when you say that those 2 words together. You got to really emphasize the game. But whether he's a game manager, it doesn't matter. He just won a Super Bowl. I mean, he has done what every NFL freaking kid or football-loving kid has done in their backyard. You know how many Super Bowls I won as a kid? All of them. I was always the receiver. I was always making that clutch catch, diving to the end zone.
Yeah.
So Hurts has done that. The fact that he's ranked 10th, like, I wonder if anyone will ask him. I doubt he'll even answer them. He'll probably be like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here, which is the correct answer. But, yeah, every GM would pick any of those dudes over Hurts, which shows you he's not as good as any of those guys. And there's other quarterbacks. I think Love is a better quarterback than Hurts. Hurts is on just an amazing team. That defense is nuts. So anyways, great podcast. Keep it going. The season started. I'm a little amped right now, if you can't tell.
Heck yeah.
Topic today. And go Pack Up.
Glad you're amped. Glad we're all excited about football. Yeah, I think my favorite part of that is that he immediately just eviscerated his own argument by pointing out that based on this metric that I created, which was Super Bowl wins, Super Bowl MVPs, Super Bowl appearances, it's all basically one metric, but we'll just drag it into 3. Based on that metric, Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL behind maybe Mahomes. And that's stupid. And even he doesn't believe that. I think at one point he even said that. He's like, oh, let's just assume that Allen and these guys are better. Why would I assume that? Your entire basis for saying that Hurts is better than all these people are these metrics that all the guys you said are better than Hurts don't have. So what are you talking about? But again, this is why you can't, I don't know, man. You can't just take these people very seriously. I just, they just go off of vibes, vibes and feelings and gut instinct, and it's kind of embarrassing. But it's what the people like. Again, you don't have to love my metric. You can come up with a different one. I would encourage you to do so. But, I mean, if we're being serious about this, you need to come up with a criteria that isn't based on your gut instinct or what you think. It's based on, mathematics. It's based on science. It's based on history, something that is proven to be accurate. And you need to develop it first and then apply it to the league so that you're not working backwards, if we're going to be honest about this. So find out what metrics correlate to, being a good quarterback. And a lot of that is sort of forward predicting metrics. In other words, this metric says you're this good, and then going forward, look at what you did. It was replicable. So you find out what those metrics are. You come up with whatever you want, or you can just apply it to what you could say EPA, and you can just have that and say, this is the metric. Or you can do what I did and build out something else, or you can combine 2 or 3 or 7 or whatever. You can look at multiple years. You can look at 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, whatever. But the point is, start with what actually makes the most sense? When you feel good about it, that I've built the best thing I could possibly come up with the time constraints and the data constraints and everything else that I have, this is the best that I can come up with. Now apply it to the quarterbacks and see what you come away with. Unless your entire metric is CPOE, Jalen Hurts is not going to be at the top of that list. And so all you end up with are the people, which I'm assuming most of them would be, are the quote-unquote tape people or the tape purists who scoff and look down their nose at statistics and, PFF and EPA and all these different things, DVOA. Real people look at the film, which I think is, as I've said 1,000 times, completely absurd. It's a perfect metric if you could do it perfectly, which nobody can. Anybody that says that I watched every snap of every single quarterback and I graded every single one of them with a perfect metric and with perfect knowledge, and therefore I can tell you how good or bad that they were, they're lying. What you have are these guys who watched football from their couch and are going off of their gut feeling based on what they watched, especially having gone into those games with bias. These are people that went into those games watching Jalen Hurts. I mean, this is no different than anything else where it's, if one person likes Jordan Love and the other person doesn't like Jordan Love, and Jordan Love throws a pass that falls incomplete, you're going to have the guy that loves Jordan Love screaming at the receiver, the guy that hates Jordan Love saying that it was a bad pass. There's bias built into this. Statistics are not biased. But all right, I recorded half of the first podcast. I got to go back and finish because I wanted to get some of this owners meeting stuff done. I don't know if there was anything super interesting, but obviously there's the passing of the torch, so I want to go back and look at that. So I got to finish that. And then honestly, I'm staring at this Project Gutenberg thing. I want to get back into it. So again, that's Gutenberg.org. Fantastic resource with, how many books does it say they have? 75,000, over 75,000 free ebooks, and just about every one of the biggest standard books that you'd want to have read or whatever, it's going to be there. So don't go to the library. Waste of time. And don't pay millions of dollars in taxes to build and expand libraries that nobody goes to. Raise my frickin' taxes for this nonsense. Anyways, have a good day. Good night. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye. See you later. Bye-bye. See you. Goodbye.
Why would I leave my house today? Walking to the library seems so strange when ChatGPT's got every page. Claude AI beats the card catalog, and I don't need pens for my monologue. The librarian keeps saying shush, but my AI doesn't judge. Why go to the library when AI knows everything for free? Stack of dusty books so old when I've got ChatGPT of gold. Why go to the library? Do we decimals like ancient code when I've got AI in God mode? Those heavy books hurt my back, but algorithms weigh jack. Late fees are so last century, my AI loves me endlessly. Why go to the library when AI knows everything for free? Stack of dusty books so old when I've got ChatGPT of gold. Why go to the library? But wait, my Wi-Fi just died, and Claude AI said goodbye. GPT is acting weird. All my smart tech disappeared. Okay, fine, I'll try the library, but it smells like 1983. Books are heavy, pages torn. I was right, this place is worn.